Hello students, once again come for the class. Today I am going to discuss regarding hemophilia. Today's topic is hemophilia. Hemophilia means, if you are saying more or less same like the previous disease, hemophilia is a group of hereditary genetic disorder that impair the body ability to control blood clotting or coagulation, which is used to stop bleeding when a blood vessels broken. So simple form, if you want to say, hemophilia is the hereditary genetic disorder in which mainly the blood clotting factor will be affected. So due to this, there will be continuous bleeding. If any blood vessels ruptured or any injury took place, trauma, automatically the bleeding will be present continuously. The blood clot will not take place. So over this, if you are saying hemophilia A, the clotting factor 8 deficiency, particularly hemophilia A, which is having the clotting factor 8 deficiency, is the most common form of the disorder, present in about 1 in 5,000 to 10,000 male births. Hemophilia B, factor 9 deficiency, occurs in around 1 in about 20,000 to 34,000 male births. So hemophilia B is factor 9 deficiency. So over this incidence, if you are seeing hemophilia A occur in 1 in 5,000 live males, hemophilia A is about 4 times as common as hemophilia B. So when compared to the B, A is most common. The number of people with hemophilia in the United States is estimated to be around 20,000 individual. The worldwide incident is around 4 lakh people. One of the main factors, if you are seeing this hemophilia, previously it has been called as the King's disease. King's disease, because this has been identified uh, in uh, in the Queen of United Kingdom, where this disease has been identified, Queen of United Kingdom, and previously it has been identified in only King's family. So this is called as the King's disease. Causes, if you are saying genetic mutation, inherited hemophilia. So genetic mutation, already you know, it carries from one generation to next generation where the defect of the gene is present. So hemophilia is caused by a mutation or change in one of the genes that provides instruction for making the clotting factor protein needed to form a blood clot. It is caused by a fault in one of the gene that determine how the body makes blood clotting factor 8 or 9. These genes are located on the X chromosomes. So if you are saying causes of hemophilia, it's in the form of father without hemophilia and mother is a carrier. Father without hemophilia and mother is a carrier. This is always related with X chromosome. So due to this, what happened? There is possibility are there a normal child, but is a normal son or a normal daughter, and a daughter who is a carrier, and a son with complete hemophilia disease condition. In the same form of opposite one, if you are saying father with hemophilia and mother who is not a carrier. So father is having a hemophilia disease and mother is normal, not having any carrier also as well as the disease also. So here was what happened. Possibility are there for a normal son, the daughter who is a carrier, and once again a son who is not having this problem, and a daughter who is a carrier. These are the possibility present over here. So due to this, here the daughter will be carrier and possibility are there normal son who is not having the hemophilic disease. So 50% of carrier in the daughter and 50% of normal son in the category of male child. If you are following on this, so maximum you can able to identify the son will be affected and the girl will be always a carrier. So female X plus X faulty is a carrier but does not have hemophilia. The good X chromosome allows the production of enough clotting factor to prevent serious bleeding problem. Male Y plus X faulty will develop hemophilia and can pass into on. The next, if the father has a hemophilia and the mother has no faulty gene, then father Y plus faulty X, mother's X plus X. So there is no risk of inherited hemophilia because one X is normal, one is faulty. So possibility are there for carrier for the daughter, and there is 100% normal son. So all the daughters will be a carrier. The next, if the father does not have hemophilia and the mother has a faulty gene, so here 50% chances are there for the son to develop hemophilia, and there is 50% of risk that a son will inherit his mother's X chromosome. Then plus his father's Y chromosome, he will have hemophilia. So there is 50% chance he will inherit his mother's good X chromosome plus his father's Y chromosome, he will not have hemophilia. So in this aspect, if you are seeing 50% the son is at the risk of developing hemophilia, and 50% possibility are there for the, once again, the risk of transferring of faulty X chromosome from the mother and normal Y from the father. Then 50% of chances are there normal X and Y from the father. So there is no possibility of disease condition. So 50% possibility are there, 50% not there. The next, the daughter, always 50% the daughter will be a carrier. Okay, then there is 50% chance she will inherit her mother's X chromosomes, making her a carrier. So there is 50% chance she will inherit her mother's good X chromosome, which would mean she will not be a carrier. So in case of daughter, there is possibility are there 50% carrier and 50% normal child. Approximately 1/3 of the patients with hemophilia have no family history of the disease, either because of new genetic mutation or because previous affected generation either had daughters who were a carriers or son who died in early childhood from hemophilia or any other cause, or who were not affected. So over this, father does not have hemophilia XY, mother has a hemophilia gene XX. So possibility are there 50% for a son for a normal as well as for hemophilia, and 50% possibility are for the daughter for normal as well as a carrier. So very rarely a girl is born with hemophilia. This can happen if her father has hemophilia and her mother is a carrier. Then gene mutation, spontaneous mutation. Under the gene mutation, spontaneous mutation. Approximately 30% of cases are hemophilia caused by the spontaneous mutation. So over this, if you're seeing the types of hemophilia are divided as hemophilia A, the factor deficiency is 8, which is having the inheritance of X-linked recessive. Hemophilia B, the factor is 9, factor deficiency is 9, which is having X-linked recessive. Then hemophilia C, the factor is 11, so which is having an autosomal recessive. Then parahemophilia, the factor is 5, which is also having autosomal recessive. So hemophilia, maximum it will be affected X-linked only, then remaining are very minimum, we can able to see that autosomal recessive. So factors affected are 8 and 9, 8 for A and 9 for B and 11 for C and 5 for parahemophilia. So over the types, the first one is hemophilia A or classic hemophilia. Hemophilia A is also called as classic hemophilia. A person with this type of hemophilia has low level of or incomplete missing factor of 8, which is responsible for the clotting. So 80% of the people with hemophilia have type A hemophilia. So this is most commonly occurring one. So factor 8 deficiency usually manifested in males, about 30% of cases. There is no family history of bleeding disorder. So over this, if you are seeing injury occurs, normally what happen? Injury to blood vessel results in bleeding. Then vessel constricts and clotting factor are activated. So normally what happen? Along with the other substances, clotting factor 8 causes strong platelet plug to form. So a stable fibrin clot forms over the platelet plug as a final seal on the injury, and the bleeding stops. So this factor 8 forms the stable fibrin clot forms over the platelet and final seal of the injury, and the bleeding stops. So whereas in the case of hemophilia A, same thing, injury to the blood vessel result in bleeding, vessel constriction and clotting factor are activated, but lack of clotting factor of 8 causes a weak platelet plug to form, which leads to incomplete or delayed fibrin clot allows bleeding to continue. So here delayed or incomplete fibrin formation due to weak platelet plugs. Next, hemophilia B. This person has low level of or is incomplete missing factors of completely missing factors of 9. So 20% of the people with hemophilia have type B hemophilia. So here affected one is factor 9. This is also called as Christmas disease because about 30% of cases of hemophilia B are caused by spontaneous genetic mutation. This is most commonly they had identified previously during the time of Christmas, so it has been considered as a Christmas disease. Hemophilia B is much less common than hemophilia A. Next, moving to the hemophilia C. This person has low level or is missing completely factor 11. Factor 11 deficiency is different because it can show up in both male and females. So over this, if you are seeing 3 levels of hemophilic factors, about severe 10% and 1% factor level. About 80% of hemophilia sufferers are considered severe. Then severe hemophilia sufferers will have excessive bleeding after injuries or surgery and can also have spontaneous bleeding episodes. They can also have joint bleeding and prolonged bleeding in the muscles. Sometimes without the person knowledge, joint bleeding can cause joint deteriorations and arthritis down the road. Moderate 1 to 5% factor level. About 10% of the hemophilia sufferers are considered moderate. Moderate sufferers may have spontaneous bleeding episode and will probably have prolonged bleeding after injury. In spontaneous, if you're coming for the severe case of 1%, they will have without their knowledge joint bleeding and muscles will be present. But here in moderate cases, if any injury takes place, there is chances of spontaneous bleeding. Then 5 to 50% of mild cases where the hemophilic sufferer are considered mild, these people have prolonged bleeding after a serious injury or trauma or surgery. In case of mild hemophilia is not discovered until there is excessive bleeding after a surgery or injury. So moving on to the signs and symptoms. The major signs and symptoms of the hemophilia are excessive bleeding and easy bruising. So excessive bleeding and easy bruising. So excessive bleeding, the extent of bleeding depends on how severe the hemophilia is. So mild hemophilia may not have signs unless they have excessive bleeding from a dental procedure or an accident or a surgery or a injury. Then bleeding can occur on the body surface, external bleeding, or inside the body, internal bleeding. So bleeding can be present in external as well as internal. So signs of external bleeding may include bleeding in the mouth from a cut or bite or losing a tooth. Then nose bleeding for no obvious reason. All of a sudden they'll have a nose bleeding. Then heavy bleeding from a minor cut. Then bleeding from a cut that resumes after stopping for a short time. Signs of internal bleeding may include blood in the urine, blood in the stool. Without their knowledge, when they are urgency to void the urine, sometimes they feel that or they observe that there is blood stained color in the urine. The urine will be completely like blood. Then when they are causing the feces, during that time there will be completely blood clot will be present. Then large bruises from bleeding into the large muscles of the body. Bleeding in the joints is more common. So bleeding in the knees, elbows or other joints is another common form of internal bleeding in people who have hemophilia. At first the bleeding causes tightness in the joint with no real pain or any visible signs of bleeding. The joint then becomes swollen, hard to touch and painful to bend because the collection of accumulation of blood will be present there. Then swelling continues as bleeding continues. Eventually, movements in the joint is temporarily lost. Pain can be severe. Joint bleeding that is not treated quickly can damage the entire joint. Bleeding in the brain or its layer. Internal bleeding in the brain is a very serious complication of hemophilia. The signs and symptoms of this bleeding includes painful headache, neck pain or stiffness, repeated vomiting, then sleepiness or change in behavior, irritated or feeling multiple change of the behavior. Then sudden weakness or clumsiness of the arms or legs or problem in walking. Then double vision, convulsions or seizures. Bleeding from the mouth or nose bleeding. Bleeding after dental procedure is common, and oozing of blood from the gums may occur in young children when new teeth are erupting. Diagnosis, how it will be diagnosis? First and foremost is we want to collect the family history, whether in the family anybody is having the history of excessive bleeding, or anybody is having unexplained death among brothers, sisters, or any others from the family members, particularly the male. The next, screening test. Screening test are blood test that shows if the blood is clotting properly. So type of screening test are complete blood count. So here we'll get the measures of hemoglobin, the size and number of RBCs, a number of different type of WBC platelet found in the blood. So CBC is normal in people with hemophilia. The next, activated partial thromboplastin time, APTT, activated partial thromboplastin time test. So this test measures how long it takes for the blood to clot. So this is the main one which is going to identify. It measures the clotting ability of the factors 8, 9, 11 and 12, or even factors 5. If any of these clotting factors are too low, it takes longer than normal for the blood to clot. This results of the test will show a longer clotting time among people with hemophilia A or B. The next one is prothrombin time, PT time, prothrombin time, PT time test. This test also measure the time it takes for the blood to clot, particularly the primarily the clotting ability of the factor 1, 2, 5, 7 and 10. The factors 1, 2, 5, 7 and 10. If any of these factors are too low, it takes longer than the normal for the blood to clot. This result of test will be normal among most people with hemophilia A and B, because A and B are responsible of factor 8 and 9. Then fibrinogen test. This test also helps doctor to assess a patient's ability to form a blood clot. So when a patient has an abnormal prothrombin test or APTT test, then result of both clotting factor test will be done. Clotting factor test, also called factors assay, are required to diagnose a bleeding disorder. This blood test shows the type of hemophilia and the severity. Clearly, they can able to identify. Next is the fetal diagnosis. Pregnancy women who are known hemophilic carrier have the disorder diagnosed in their unborn babies or as early as 12 weeks into their pregnancies. So women who are hemophilia carriers also have pre-implantations diagnosis to have children who does not have hemophilia. So for this process, women have either eggs removed and fertilized by sperm in a laboratory. The embryos are then tested for hemophilia, whether the child is having carrier or possibility are there. Then treatment. Moving on to the treatment, the preferred treatment for hemophilia is factor replacement therapy. Hemophilia is treated by injecting the missing factor protein into the affected person's vein. The injection makes the factor immediately available in the bloodstream, and the body is able to activate it to continue the clotting cascade and stop the bleeding. So treatment with replacement therapy, if you are coming for replacement therapy, the concentration of clotting factor 8 or the clotting factor 9 are slowly dripped or injected into a vein. This infusion helps replace the clotting factor that missing or low of particularly factor 8 and 9. So if you are seeing without replacement therapy, there will be excess bleeding will be present and the clotting will not take place, or it takes late for the clotting factor or the bleeding to stop. With the replacement therapy, what happened? The new factors 8 or 9 will work out very well in the blood by replacing, which will produce immediate clotting factors. Then clotting factor concentration can be made from human blood. With the current method of screening and testing donated blood, the risk of getting an infectious disease from human clotting factor is very small, because we are having blood bank, we are collecting the blood and we check thoroughly and we are preserving it, then we are giving for the individual which is safest one according to the matching of their blood. Then factor concentrates that are not made from human blood are also used for the treatment to further reduce the risk. These are called recombinant clotting factors. Clotting factors are easy to store, mix, and use at home. It only takes 15 minutes to receive the factor. So there may have replacement therapy on regular basis. Example, this is called preventive or prophylactic therapy. Regular basis, like example, monthly once the individual has to come, or 3 months once, or 6 months once the individual has to come. Over this regularity basis, the individual will be taking the treatment or the transfer of the replacement therapy. So this use of treatment on as needed basis is called demand therapy. Next, over this replacement therapy, if you are saying the complication of the replacement therapy include antibodies that attack the clotting factor because it's a new one. Then developing viral infection from human clotting factor. Then damage to joint, muscle, or other parts of the body resulting from delays in treatment. Other types of treatments are desmopressins. This is desmopressins or DDAVP is a man-made hormone used to treat people who have mild hemophilia A. So desmopressins stimulate the release of stored factor 8 and 1 milliband factor. It is also increase the level of these protein in your blood. 1 milliband factors carries and bind factor 8, which can then stay in the bloodstream for a longer period of time, and this will be used only in case of mild hemophilia A. So this medicine is used only in certain situation. For example, the client may take these medicines prior to dental work or before playing certain sports to prevent or reduce bleeding. The next, antifibrinolytic medicines. Antifibrinolytic medicines may be used with replacement therapy. They are usually given as a pill and they help keep blood clots from breaking down. So these medicines most often are used before dental work or treat bleeding from mouth or nose or mild intestinal bleeding. Antifibrinolytic medicines along with the replacement therapy. The next, gene therapy. Researchers are trying to find ways to correct the faulty genes that cause hemophilia. Gene therapy has not yet developed in complete form to point out that it is accepted treatment for hemophilia worldwide. However, researchers continue to test gene therapy in clinical trials. So treatments of a specific bleeding site, pain medicines, steroids, and physical therapy may be used to reduce pain and swelling. The main and foremost work, if you are seeing rise indicate what? Rest, ice, compressions, and elevations. So the rise is main important of work for the individual to prevent the problem for the individual, or the self-care we can able to say. They should have complete rest. Then ice pack has to be used for 15 to 20 minutes several times a day. The next, compress with an elastic wrap to help control swelling. The next, elevate the ankle above the heart to minimize swelling. So by doing this one, what happen, which will give the complete uh, comfort for the individual, which is called rise, rest, ice pack, then compressions and elevation. R for rest, I for ice pack, C for compression, and E for elevation, which is called rise. Prevention. How we can able to prevent? Hemophilia cannot be cured. However, patient with who started prophylaxis earlier, that is by the age of 3, shows better musculoskeletal outcome because of the growth and development. So avoid taking aspirin and non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Get vaccinated with hepatitis B vaccine, HPV. The next, administer factor 8 and 9 on a regular basis to help prevent bleeding and joint damage. Avoid circumcising male infants or women who know to be carrier until the baby has been tested for hemophilia positive. So over this concept, if you are coming for the management, over the management, you have to have the first and foremost one is risk of deficient fluid volume related to hemorrhage. Then ineffective protection related to inability to clot or blood to clot. Then impaired physical mobility related to repeated hemarthrosis or repeated episode. Then acute pain related to bleeding into joints and muscles. ineffective family coping related to disabling and life-threatening disease. These are the possible nursing diagnosis. So today's topic we had saw hemophilia. Over the hemophilia we saw that mainly two types, and mainly the causes. The causes, if you are coming, these are gene mutation, and we had seen the types. The types, over the types, four types are there: hemophilia A, hemophilia B. Both are X-linked, and which are having the factors of 8 and factor 9 deficiency. Then hemophilia C, which is having the factor 11 deficiency, and which is autosomal recessive problem. The next we saw related to the signs and symptoms. The next we saw related to the diagnostic evaluation. After that, the treatment. After the treatment, the preventive measures. After the preventive measures, the nursing management. Thank you.